Hey guys, and welcome to another live stream, which isn't a live stream because we are recording this on the hard drive, but I'm still acting like it's a live stream, so no cuts or whatever. The reason we're doing this is because from our home location where we are now, somehow there's an audio drift when we stream straight to YouTube, and when I record to the hard drive, it's a lot better, so we don't have any problems. Not knowing what's going on, but I don't want to bore you guys with every time getting an email that we're live, so that's why we're recording the live streams and then uploading them, so easy. Okay, normally, of course, this is a photography channel, but during this whole lockdown or semi-lockdown, depending on in which country you are, I think it's also cool to do something else. And we started out this week with actually doing also something with guitars. Because we all have hobbies, right? And in this period, it's best to just keep doing those hobbies, because we can help the guys in the healthcare the best by staying at home. Don't infect other people, stay at home. It's actually the most easiest thing to do. Stay at home, have some fun at home. Well, fun, you know what I mean, right? Okay, so today a very special guitar. Last time we had a Fender Stratocaster Ingwe Malmsteen with the scalloped frets. Today we have something else, but it's also almost a Fender Stratocaster. Look. So, what is my favorite guitar in the world? Well, it's something like this. We call this white or lumpic white. I call it always a little bit discolored white. Maple neck, so a light neck. Normally you see a lot of guitars that also have a darker neck, rosewood. This is maple. And all the way up here, the headstock. But there's no Fender here. There's Musima. So what is Musima? Well, you have to realize that Fender, of course, is an incredibly important brand and very popular. Leo Fender actually created, well, he didn't create the electric guitar, but he was a very vital part in it. And a lot of people actually want that Fender Stratocaster, but they're not cheap. They have cheaper series, but if you want the really good ones, they're expensive. So there are alternatives. For example, you can get an alternative from Fender itself called Squier. You can get an alternative from Fender, which is a little bit more expensive, made in Mexico. Or you can have the USA Strats. And the USA Strats, especially the older ones, I love vintage instruments, are incredibly expensive. Think about in the range of 8,000, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000. Prices go up insanely. When you want something like this from the 60s, yeah, I don't even know what price it is. I don't even want to know. So, if you want to have something that's similar in feel, similar in look, and similar in sound, you can get one of those copycats. And that doesn't mean they're bad. This one, for example, from Musima, according to a lot of people, is almost as good as a USA Strat, or at least better than a made in Mexican or a Squier. Now, how did I get this guitar? Well, it was sold on Katowice as a 1962, which is insane because Musima didn't make these kind of guitars in 1962. They started in 1984. But still, the expert said 1962, the seller says 1962, so I just started bidding on it. And let's be honest, these guitars don't go for a lot of money. So we ended up, I believe, at 250 euros. The thing was, the seller told me it was totally checked up by a luthier, and a luthier is somebody that repairs guitars. Well, trust me, when it came in, normally when you put a coin here, it should be tight. Even my plectrum is pretty tight. So that means that the action is really low and it plays easier. With this guitar, you could literally put your finger underneath. And when I looked at the guitar from this side, I was going like, oh, those frets, these little metal things, they were loose and they were up, and there were a lot of frets that were, well, totally damaged. So I was going like, this isn't right. So I brought it into a luthier, he set it up correctly, fixed my frets, replaced them when necessary, and I got a great playing guitar. The seller, by the way, really cool guy, refunded me half my money. So in the end, I still paid 250 euros for this guitar, which in my opinion, for how it sounds and plays, it's an absolute bargain. So how does it play? Well, we have to switch for cameras for that, but let me just switch over camera, and let me just hear how it sounds pretty clean. Okay, so it's pretty much a Strat sound, and let me take that out. Okay, there we go. But when you want a little bit more, and a lot of people struggle with this when you're at home, let me switch the camera up again. When you're at home and you have a tube amps are magic, right? But a lot of people forget that tube amps are magic because they give you that nice overdrive, that nice distortion, that nice bluesy breakup sound. But how do you get that sound if you're, for example, well, in your bedroom, and you can't have it on full volume. You can use an attenuator, which actually takes away a little bit of that sound and lowers it by, for example, 6 decibels or 12 decibels. And you can play pretty much on full volume, and still it's, well, acceptable for a living room or a bedroom. But there's something else. When you want that breakup, you can achieve it also in another way. If you buy an overdrive pedal or distortion pedal or whatnot kind of pedal, it doesn't matter, lower everything except the volume. What you now get is a volume boost, and I'm going to show you exactly how that sounds. And it's pretty amazing. We're using an overdrive from Joe Satriani, the Ice 9 from Fox. Everything is disengaged. The only thing that I use is actually the volume. And now listen what happens when we engage the volume. So first I'm going to just do one chord without that pedal and then one with. And again, the only thing I do is a clean volume boost. You can use any pedal for this as far as I know. If you have a tube amp, I don't know if it works on transistors, but if you have a tube amp, this really makes a huge difference for that blue sound. So let's lower the camera that you can see the guitar. There we go. Okay, so first without, and I'm going to switch camera, and then you see me switching it on. Okay, so don't mind the playing. It's a pretty big difference, and I really like it. Now, especially when you play a solo, that really gives you a little bit of extra bite. So let's play a little bit of blues for you guys with that pedal engaged. And I'm also going to put in a little bit of delay. So, and again, I'm not a great guitar player, but hey, it's fun, right? So let's do a little bit of blues, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this guitar, why it's so special. Okay, switch cameras. Okay, far from perfect, but I think it was a lot of fun. So, I hope you enjoyed these small episodes where I tell you a little bit about the guitars, but I promised you something special, right? Now, normally when you look at a guitar, there's always a serial number. That serial number can be here, that serial number can be on the back of the headstock, but it can also be here. Now, when we looked at this guitar when it came in, I couldn't find any serial number. Wherever I looked, there was no serial number. Now, we decided to take the guitar apart because it was in such a terrible state, so what can you lose, right? Now, normally there are markings when you take the neck off on the neck, or in this cavity, or even when you take the electronics out in this cavity. No serial numbers at all. So that gave me a little bit of doubt, so I started posting on a Soviet guitar website, and I pretty quickly got a reply, and that surprised me a little bit. When there's no serial number on this guitar, that actually means that it was built in 1983 or 1984, if I understand correctly. It was actually the first batch before the guitars were literally sent out to customers. So we have a first batch guitar. That's cool, like a first pressing of an album, right? They are worth a lot of money. These kind of guitars, you don't know, it's more the story about it, that's cool. But there's more. When you normally look at the Fender Strat, you see a little bit of a thing over here. We call that the tremolo arm. Do you see that it's missing? Well, we call that a hard tail. So that means there's only a bridge. When you look at the back of the guitar, you can actually see that the strings go through the body. That gives you a little bit extra sustain, notes, keep singing a little bit more. But you miss, of course, the tremolo arm. Now, I didn't give any attention to this at first until somebody told me that Musima, most guitars, 99%, were actually built with a tremolo arm. We looked online and indeed, all the lead stars that I could find were actually with a tremolo, except one. And that was an older one, I believe from 1987. So that means that I don't only have a first batch guitar, first pressing, but I also have a very unique guitar because, well, there's no tremolo, so we have a hardtail. All combined, that's what I love about old guitars. It's the story about the guitar that really gives me the value of that guitar. And let's be honest, it just looks amazing. It's road worn, so there's a lot of dents in here, which I think is, well, adding character to the guitar. But it's also, of course, well, it's a shame it's not in new condition. On the other hand, that's the magic of those guitars. Okay, guys, if you like these guitar episodes, let me know in the comments below. Again, sorry for my sloppy playing, but hey, I'm not a shredder or whatever. I just have fun with the guitars. And I think in this time, it's also good to have something else to do than just the serious stuff, right? Just have some fun. And guys, please help out our healthcare. Stay inside as much as possible. Try to keep your social distancing. I know it's different. Different, but also difficult. And please, guys, take care of each other. Right? See you again next time. And again, leave comments below if you want to see something else or if you have questions about photography, because the next live stream will be about photography again. See you again next time.